Akani Simbine won in Botswana the 100 meters, faced up against Omanyala, the fastest man the record holder, the African record holder, and running 9.90, the world leading time. And coming from winning his first global medal in the world indoors, winning that bronze, and coming also from last year where he won as part of the quartet in the silver 4x100, the silver medal in the 4x100 meters for men. Is this the season? Is this the year going into the World Championships that Akani Simbine cements his place globally and comes home with maybe the title or yet another global medal in the World Championships, in the big one?
Maybe, right? Because he said of himself that the medals and the titles don't necessarily define him. But I think they switched on something in him that was not there, because the thing with Akani Simbine is that he'd always run good races. You always have good seasons where you're like, okay, World Championships are coming up, Olympics are coming up. Now you're about to see someone get a medal from South Africa in the 100 meters, and then it doesn't happen. And I think that 4x1J, that victory, I don't know how to describe in terms of what it did for him, but the taste of success, I think, is something very sweet, and that's something that he's been chasing. And the fact that he actually got to taste it pushed him to then go into the indoor championships and get that bronze, whereas previously he hadn't even competed in that particular arena. So to go to Botswana, Jen, to beat Omanyala by having a world leading time, 9.90, I think that's magic yet again. And with sprinters, in my mind, I feel that they're always fast, right? They're always fast, but you need to have momentum. You need to have something click. You need to find a purple patch, which I think he has at this point in time. So I think towards it, where many of us would say is towards the twilight of his career, over the hill, he's maybe has a little bit more in terms of a peak and a plateau before he then goes downward. So I think this is the time. It's now or never. And I think the numbers suggest that he's yet to be proven wrong in terms of he can get. I'm yet to be proven wrong in terms of he can get a medal. I think he gets something, Jay, in the World Championships. I think he gets something because that taste has made him a different athlete.
We've been here before with Akani Simbine, where he's run fast times in the early parts of the year, and then come the World Championships or the Olympics, a little later in the year, it's not quite the same form. And I've also said that he struggled with the pressure in finals, but I think this year is different. I really just think it's different, and I think it's because of the fact that winning is contagious, and he does have that taste of winning. And the fact that in the individual 100-meter final at the Olympics, he ran his PB. And for me, that answered the question in terms of what is happening between his ears in those high-pressure situations. When the lights are brightest, can he be his absolute best? Can he show the form that we've seen him exhibit in the early parts of the year? And the thing is, of course, he has to run fast. He has to be in some kind of peak in the early parts of the year, because the South African national championships happen around this time. They're coming up soon. But then there's the problem of maintaining that form going into the World Championships. If you take, for example, what happens in the USA, their trials are a bit closer to the World Champs or the Olympics, so they get an opportunity to carry that form into those big meets, whereas there's a huge chunk of time for Simbine to try and maintain that, and it hasn't happened. But also the fact that when he's got into the finals, I felt, as I'm saying, that the big moment has affected him, and I think that's a thing of the past because of what he did in that 100-meter final, running a national record and challenging the African record by Omanyala, and also then winning the 4x100 meters, being on the podium on that grand a stage, and then going to the World Indoors, which is not as prestigious as the World Championships or the Olympics, but still being there, and him saying that the reason that they went there, or they did an indoor campaign with his coach, was to work on his start, which is something he feels still needs some work. And we saw in the race in Botswana against Omanyala, he was behind at the start, and then he came back on Omanyala. And to be running 9.90 right now, my hope is that this is not the peak, but he's able to shut it down and to bring it back up again going into the World Championships in the same way that he did last year. As I'm saying, I feel like there's so much experience now with his own experiences, and also with how the mechanics and the periodization of training and racing works in preparing yourself to be at your best when you are really needed to be at your best, that he's maintained his speed into his early 30s, which is quite amazing to see. and that consistency is something I feel this year is gonna pay off. Akani Simbine is going to win the world title. He's going to be the world champion. He's going to beat Noah. He's going to beat Fred. He's going to beat Tebogo. He's going to beat all those comers come the finals of the world championships. And I'm here for it.